Hey, what's up everybody? Remi Sovran here from RemiSovran.com. So you're probably wondering why I'm holding a hockey stick right now, and the reason being is because I want to kind of teach you and show you the biomechanics of hockey and show you how this could potentially contribute to a disc injury. So for those of you that don't know, I played hockey for about 17 plus years, played competitively, and there were times where I was on the ice skating 2-3 times a day for for several hours. So the thing is when you look at the biomechanics, so firstly, when we look at hockey, this is just kind of the position you're starting in when you're lining up for a face-off or whatnot. So when you're in this position, spine's going to be slightly rounded here, and we're bent over. So if you think about it, you're in this position for a long period of time. If you don't have the strength or the capacity to kind of sustain that position, then it could contribute to a disc bulge because you're in that forward flexion, so posterior bulge. Now, I'm a left-handed shooter, so when you look at someone who's left-handed, for instance, I'm shooting like this, and if I consistently do this all the time, what we're getting here is we're getting forward flexion, we're getting lateral flexion, and we're getting rotation as well. So now we're getting 3 motions of the spine, which can be problematic over time, especially if you don't have that strength and capacity to kind of sustain that motion. So when you look at that lateral flexion now, the bulge is going to go this way, and it's going to go posterior because I'm always forward, and then we can combine the rotation as well, which can make it even more problematic. And the thing is once you're shooting consistently over time, that's how an issue can arise. Same thing with stick handling. I'm always favoring the left side here, and I'm never really working on this side. So when I'm on this side, I'm always getting that lateral bend. So we're basically staying in this position. That's how that bulge can occur going this way, and especially leaning forward as well. It's another thing to keep in mind. So, like for my case, I had an L5 S1 disc bulge, and it was basically bulging to the right. So to the right, so I'm getting sciatica down my right leg. So playing hockey for 17 plus years probably contributed to this issue and whatnot. Just kind of being in those positions and always favoring those positions, and without having the strength or without having the proper capacity to kind of sustain those positions, or just not even engaging in proper recovery. Being on the ice, 3-4 hours a day sometimes, that can be very problematic, and especially when there's not really much recovery going on. If you look at an NHL player, for instance, they're on the ice just about every day, and they have their morning skates, per-game skates, and then they're playing during the game, so they're always in that flex and bent over position, and that's why you see that a disc bulge, disc herniation, any sort of disc-related injury is pretty common for an NHL player, especially taller guys. And you can see like Jason Spezza, Eric Fair, Marian Hossa, Brett Belmore, these guys all had disc-related problems which kind of impacted and affected their career in some way. Some of them needed surgery, some of them just kind of went through other different recovery methods, and that's the thing of just being in that position over time, especially when you're taller too. The effects are going to be much greater on your back when you bend over. For example, I'm 6'5", so for me always being that bent over position is going to be a lot of strain on my back. And then that's not to mention when someone's sitting down and tying their skates. Now when they're sitting down tying their skates as well, they're getting into these really poor positions, poor flexion positions, and then you can kind of get that bulge, and they're tying their skates about 4 or 5 times a day. Very problematic, and that's not even to mention sitting on the bench as well. A lot of guys always bent over like this, so they're always in this position when they're on the bench, and even when they're tired, breathing heavily, they're always in this really forward flex position and posture, which can be very problematic, and this kind of can contribute to those disc-related injuries. So guys, that's just something I wanted to kind of talk about, provide you with that information, and just kind of something to be aware of. Maybe if you are a hockey player, and I just wanted to talk about how that kind of contributed to my injury potentially, and over time. So just being aware of those positions, it's a sport of hockey, you can't avoid it. You're going to be in that position, but the thing is just being aware of them. So like a couple of things you could do, is if you do play hockey, sitting in a more braced posture when you're tying your skates. So try to keep a neutral spine when you're tying your skates and whatnot, instead of rounding your back. Another thing is just being on the bench. Maybe they can somehow develop new benches to kind of help support your back, because there's no back support on any of those benches, and everyone's a different height. So some of the taller players may benefit from like a taller bench, whatnot. So there may need to be adjustments there, or it's just the player themselves needs to be aware of that and has to learn to properly brace their spine in order to kind of prevent that stress on the back. And then when it comes to just the position itself, like the hockey position, it's just a position. There's not really much you could do. I mean, you could, I don't know, work with the athlete in different ways, strengthen certain muscles and different postures and whatnot, identifying postures and working with them and looking for any imbalances. Typically there is going to be an imbalance because when you take a left-handed shooter, for instance, you get this internal rotation of the right shoulder here, you get that forward flexion. So you have to find a way to kind of counterbalance that as a strength coach or a trainer and kind of work with the athlete. So that's just kind of something I wanted to provide you guys with and some information, also just about my injury and I believe how I think it contributed to my injury over time, because with all that capacity I just don't think my spine could handle that forward flexion anymore, just from doing it so many times over with hockey. And then obviously it happened in the gym just from a deadlift, did a heavy deadlift and then bang, I had my bulge and then a serious injury occurred, and then I was basically in pain for roughly a year and a half, almost 2 years. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you're able to take something away from this. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. And if you want to see more fitness videos, fitness tips, or any videos that are similar to this, where I'm kind of explaining the biomechanics of the sport, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Okay guys, so take care and all the best.